Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the APA call for solicitation number 24. And we are starting this morning with the electric vehicle charging category. We do have 8 categories today, and so we have about a half an hour for each category. I'm Jane Easties, and I'm the bid coordinator for AEPA and a chair member of the AEPA solicitations committee. And we are recording this today, and I wonder if I could ask everyone to just, if you wouldn't mind going into the chat and just putting your name and the company that you're with, that would be great for our records. Let's see, what else? I'm gonna start this morning with just a little bit of background on AEPA. I'm gonna try and not take too much time, but just give you a little bit of a foundation. And then we'll let Natasha from New Jersey, who is the committee chair for this category, talk a little bit about the category itself. And then we'll open it up to your questions. Okay, a little bit of background on AEPA. If you're not familiar with I should say that this is a brand new category for us. We've never done this category, so you may not be as familiar with AEPA as some of the other vendors that we have done bids in. But AEPA is a 29-state procurement organization. We have been working together since 2000, kind of combining our volume and our presence. So we all have a legal entity, a nonprofit in each one of our 29 states with the marketing crew. So we combine that volume and that presence to bring value to you as a vendor for responding to these bids. And of course, our ultimate goal is to bring value to all of our members. Our members are public school districts, private school districts, cities, counties. They're all public members. And in many of our states, we can also sell to nonprofits. So we actually represent thousands of potential customers across the country. We are largely a volunteer organization, although we do have some paid staff. We have an executive director, George Wilson, and we do have bid managers that help us manage some of the bids as well. So currently AEPA working together has over 28 different categories in which we've done solicitations. And we're representing well over 700 million in sales annually and volume through those categories, closing in on $1 billion in volume. So if awarded, and we encourage you all to respond, if awarded, you'd be working with the 29 agencies. Each one of us has a long and trusted history with our membership, and through our contracts and partnerships, we do sales in all 50 states. So we have a large reach, a national reach. AEPA, the board, which consists of 2 members from each state, meets twice a year, and otherwise we operate year-round in a committee structure. So you'll hear me refer to the solicitations committee or the category committee. So we do have a number of committees that are working year-round. We do use an online bidding platform for our solicitations called Public Purchase. If you're not familiar with it and you're interested in planning to respond, that is probably the first thing that you should know, is that all of our documents and all of the responses come through this portal, Public Purchase. Access is free for you to get on. When you first get on a Public Purchase, there is an option for a paid option, but you can go in through the free option. There are step-by-step directions for getting on Public Purchase on the AEPA website. So that's AEPA, the Association of Educational Purchasing Agencies, AEPA Co-op, COOP.org, AEPAcoop.org. If you go on that website and go under vendors, under solicitations and registration, you'll find step-by-step instructions of how to get on Public Purchase and how to access the bid documents. Okay, once you're there, we have organized our bids in about 6 different parts. So you'll see a number of documents to download. The first 3 parts are largely informational. So part A represents the basic information about the solicitation and the general terms and conditions for AEPA, for responding. Part B is probably the section that you'll tune in and spend a lot of time with. That's where you'll find more about the specific category, in this case, the electric vehicle charging, and the specific specifications, what we're looking for, what AEPA is looking for. Part C are the individual state terms and conditions, there any that apply there. The second 3 documents really lead you through how you're going to put your response together. So part D is a required questionnaire, and I would ask that you, as you go through that, some straightforward information. This is where we get to know you, but pay attention. There may be things that we ask you to upload or additional information. And certainly you're free to put in as much detail as possible, things like your marketing plan, how you operate, whatever we need to know to best understand you as a company, as a part of your response. Part E, the 5th part, are the required signature forms. And there's information about Davis-Bacon, and of course we have to follow federal bidding rules. So you'll find that, and then places to place your signature. Really important, we don't want to have to turn away any potential responses because there's a signature lacking. So there is a checklist as well that will help you make sure that you've completed everything. And probably one of the most important parts are part F, are a set of Excel workbooks. And we ask that you use these Excel workbooks. This is what our members, for those who are awarded, that's what our members will use to know what the pricing discounts are, and how to access what they should expect from the bid response. So so after this call, this is a chance for you to ask questions and talk specifically about this. But after this, you are welcome to upload any and all questions to the public purchase portal. And we will work with the committee to form a response and post the response. And that response will go to everyone who is registered on the public purchase portal, so that everyone gets the same information. You will have a chance for all written questions until August 28th. That's the last day at the end of business. That is the last day that we can accept questions. The responses are due September 12th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, where they're opened electronically. We do not accept any paper documents. It's all electronic, so you will upload your response unless there is a bid bond needed, and I don't believe there is one. Lisa or Natasha, I don't think there is one for this category. So everything is electronic, and you will load all of your responses back up to the public purchase portal September 12th, 1:30 Eastern time, and we will open them electronically. We will look for that everything has been turned in for responses, and those responses will then go to the committee for evaluation. Then the committee will recommend potential awards, and the final recommendation for award will be made at the late November, early December meeting of the AEPA for the full board. And after that time, states will then enter into a contract. So that's a lot of information there. We do have information on our website as well. And I'm going to, at this time, ask Natasha. And Natasha, I'm not sure how to say your last name, and I don't want to butcher it. So if you can help me here, Natasha is from New Jersey, and she is the chair of this committee.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, My last name is Matisak. so-
Matisak, thank you.
Yeah, my name is Natasha Matisak. Thank you for the introduction, Jane. I am from the member state in New Jersey, the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. And as Jane mentioned, this is a new category for AEPA that we have been working on and put the bid out for. I had worked on a bid individually for New Jersey, so I am a little bit familiar with electric vehicle charging from having done that. The bid for AEPA is asking for responses from qualified vendors that can either provide the electric vehicle charging stations and any necessary products or equipment only, so just the stations themselves, or a vendor that can provide an entire turnkey solution that would have both the equipment itself as well as installation of that equipment. A lot of the states may have to bid installation individually due to individual bidding laws in those states. So we want to be able to offer a solution to as many of our members as possible. And as Jane had mentioned, all the specifications regarding what we are requiring for this bid are provided in Part B of the specifications. And the pricing structure was provided on Part F, which is that Excel workbook that Jane had mentioned. And it is structured where you would provide pricing for the equipment and then separately for any design or installation that you may offer. And that's really all I have as an overview of the bid itself. And if anyone has any questions, this is the first time that I've worked on a bid for AEPA, so I don't know what the best structure is to encourage questions, since we have quite a number of people on the Zoom. So I'm not sure if you have any advice, Jane, on how we should organize this.
Thank you, Natasha. Thanks for that overview. And we will open the floor. It's all now open to the vendors. You're welcome to you can turn on your camera or not, just start speaking. There's also the reactions if you want to raise your hand, or you could put your questions in the chat. So we'll be monitoring the chat as well.
Yep. And Jane, we do have a question that's in the chat already. And you might be best suited to answer this one, but how is AEPA different than Sourcewell?
Yes, if you're familiar with Sourcewell, Omnia, TIPS, there's a number of different national cooperatives. AEPA is different in that we are a volunteer. There's one organization in each state. And the money, the administrative fees from this all flow back to each state. So it doesn't go to one organization. And we all help support each other. So you have people on the ground in each state who know their members, who communicate constantly with their members. And that's a little bit different structure than Sourcewell or Omnia or most of the large for-profit. Sourcewell is a governmental, but several of the others are for-profit cooperatives. AEPA is not, it's all nonprofit. Anything anyone else would like to add on that?
I have another question in a couple of questions. They're coming in pretty quick here.
Okay.
Can documents be signed electronically or do they have to be in ink?
We do accept electronic signatures, yes.
Okay. Are there any rules around holding multiple purchasing contracts?
I'm assuming from the vendor standpoint, responding to others, no, there is a question in the questionnaire if you do have other relationships, and we do ask for the lowest and or equivalent pricing, not the lowest, but equivalent pricing. But otherwise, no. And we do have vendors who have responded to multiple cooperatives.
Perfect. Natasha, this might be for you. To verify, respondents can provide a bid for charging stations and equipment, in parentheses EVSE only, or they can bid for EVSE as well as turnkey installation services.
Yes, that is correct. We are asking that respondents either provide at minimum the equipment and the chargers themselves. Like I said, a number of states have requirements and laws that do not permit them to allow national co-ops to have the installation and public works portion of the bid done through the national co-op. So they would have to go out and do the installation themselves and go out to bid individually. But if you are a company that does service by providing the equipment as well as the installation services, we are looking for bids on that as well. And any states that may be able to use installation services through AEPA would then be able to do so if we could award a vendor that has a full turnkey solution with both the I'm sorry, I also see the question where it says for installation services, do you have to bid all members or can installation be bid to just a region? The bid should be able to service a majority of the AEPA member states. There are 29 member states. I believe Jane mentioned that. It may be best if you do only service a region to have the manufacturer of the products bid directly and then name you as a dealer that can do the installation as a subcontractor for them.
Another question, with a new entrant in this market every 32nd these days, how is experience and longevity weighted in evaluation?
This particular solicitation is set up as a bid, so we do not have points. We are looking for the lowest responsive and responsible vendors. So responsible, it is our charge here to vet the history and experience and of each company that responds, and to take that into account along with the pricing.
Another question for this category, electric vehicle charging, are there any lists of types of EV charging such as level 2 or DC fast charging?
In the specifications, we did specify that we are asking for level 2 and level 3 or the DC fast charging stations only. We are not asking for level 1. We did not give any examples, but those are the two types of chargers that we are asking for bids on, either the equipment or the equipment and installation for.
And then Suraj, you have your hand up. If you could unmute and ask your question, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you. The question is regarding the installation services. We understand the installation services could be picked up by any member that deems fit, but the scope associated with the installation services is going to be so varied with different sites and different locations. Is there a possibility for us to provide assumptions along with it, or is there a better definition around the scope cutoff that you guys will be able to provide so we can give you an apples to apples comparison? Otherwise, the bids and what each offerer provides is going to be extremely varied.
I do understand what you mean in regards to that, and obviously each electric vehicle charger would have some difference in installation requirements. We did give a more general overview of what we would expect the installation services to provide that would be consistent across the board. As far as bidding for the pricing of different situations or different geographies and things like that, we would encourage that you submit as much pricing as possible for each type of case that you would think may arise. However, we do understand that there may be case-by-case basis where additional pricing would have to be offered to our members in order to complete the installation. And in that case, that would be something that we would have to discuss after we receive the bids, and whatever information you have provided, we would review and decide whether it would be applicable to what we are awarding. And in that case, you would discuss it on a member basis with what is required for each particular installation project.
So, so along with our installation, we could provide our basic assumption, is kind of what I'm assuming. So that would be part of the schedule, or this price that we would provide, correct? Or,
Yes, as much pricing and information as possible is encouraged. You can add it
Okay.
on the pricing form. Part F, I believe the tab is services, where the
Correct.
installation pricing is asked. There are lines underneath it if you want to just add on those lines the information that you want to provide and what the pricing would be. Like I said, we would take it into consideration when reviewing the bids and then award accordingly.
thank you.
So far, that's all of the questions in the chat. Question, will this recording be available after the meeting? Yes, once all of the meetings today have been completed, we will get the recordings updated and split, and then we will add them to the solicitations in public purchase.
And just a reminder that no limit on the written questions in public purchase, and feel free to get as detailed as you like. We'd rather have a good understanding going in. And I'll remind anyone else here from AEPA. I know there's several people on. Feel free to add any information here that to any of these questions or responses.
A question came in, if approved through AEPA, should offerers expect purchase orders for specific projects, or will member agencies issue their own form of procurement?
We're constantly educating our members that we're public agencies. So if we've done this cooperative bid, they do not have to do the bid themselves. But this is an indefinite quantity, indefinite timing, so they can access these contracts at any time, and they would go direct to the awarded vendor. And we will be out spreading the word of who has been awarded and encouraging people when they have a project to call our awarded vendors.
Does AEPA have a preference for manufacturers over distributors?
I wouldn't say that there is a preference for manufacturers over distributors. However, as mentioned earlier, we do have 29 member states that we would expect our vendors to service. So in the case that a distributor may only offer services in a specific region and not be able to offer services to a majority of the 29 states, we would probably encourage the manufacturer to bid in that case and then name you as a distributor, as a subcontractor for the bid, and you would be able to be their dealer within your region.
Yeah, I will just add to that. Great answer, Natasha. That AEPA has both in their current contract portfolio. And success for manufacturers comes with very good communication to their distribution network and between AEPA and the manufacturers and the distributors.
A few more questions here. Will individual TOs be competed, sorry.
I'm not certain what TOs is an abbreviation for, so if you could.
Task orders. Yeah, TOs means task orders or individual RFPs, or whatever the projects that come out of the member states, I guess.
So as Jean had mentioned, we are putting it out to bid for all of the member states that are a part of AEPA. The only time where they may be going out to bid individually is, as I had mentioned, certain states have certain requirements and laws regarding installation, so they may bid that out separately, but there would be no reason for them to necessarily bid any of the things that are covered under the award through AEPA.
Maybe a follow-up, ma'am. So, how many awards do you expect to make on this one? After, or is it going to be just one single awardee, or is there going to be multiple awardees on this?
It would depend on the responses that we get. We would look at all of the responsible vendors and then review their bids accordingly. As I had mentioned earlier, this is the first bid that I worked on for AEPA, but I would imagine that we would have one awarded vendor per manufacturer. There would not be multiple awardees for each manufacturer. And if there is a manufacturer that bid direct, they would be allowed to name dealers for the different regions. But other than that, we could award numerous vendors depending on what the offerings are and the different manufacturers and the different electric vehicle charging station solutions that are being offered.
Jane, we have 3 questions still, but we are running close to being out of time. What I can do is copy and paste these questions, and then we can post these questions and answers once I can post the questions in public purchase, and then I can wait for the committee to post an answer if you would like, but we are running at the max time right now for this Q&A session.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Natasha, and thank you all for joining, and thank you for your interest, and we hope to see responses from you. As Lisa said, we will post the responses to these last questions, and please feel free to go on and add as many questions as you like. And thank you again for your time today.